Tomorrow is Halloween, so you know what that means. We're going to do a spooky episode, and today we're going to cover Marvel Zombies, the Disney Plus show that passed a little bit earlier this month, but we didn't get a chance to do it. So here we are. Stay tuned and let's talk zombies. Welcome back to Collie Greens and Nerdy Things, your favorite nerd podcast. I am your host, King, and this is my co host and the greatest co host in the world, JC3. And today we are talking about Marvel Zombies. We're going to do all 4 episodes in this bad boy, so hang tight. We're going to try to make it nice and easy for you, not too long. If you have any comments, thoughts, maybe your favorite episode of Marvel Zombies, let us know down below. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share to your friends. That's how we grow our page, and we're trying to do just that. So let's get the party started with the first episode. Let's start off with episode 1, and this story is going to be about Kamala Khan, Riri Williams, and Kate Bishop trying to survive in New York. Tell us what you thought, Jay.
Well, honestly, when it came to this show in general, I didn't think too much of it at first. It was interesting to me that this being the spinoff to What If, I was interested to see what they were going to do with this show. And I was pleasantly surprised, man. The first episode was really, really good. Like you said, we catch up with Riri, who's Ironheart, Kate Bishop, also Hawkeye, and Kamala Khan being Miss Marvel, trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. I personally enjoyed that just because we kind of get like we got a continuation of that Young Avengers tease that we got from the Marvels movie. And it was really good just to see these characters finally interact with each other. It kind of gave me like the first Avengers movie type of vibes, just because we've never seen like many characters from phases 4 or 5 just coming together like this. So it was really good to see them work as a unit. The object that they were after tried to try to get to the Nova Core, a transmitter, I believe that was shrunken down by with pin particles. That was an interesting take, like a little device to get them to the next place. Overall, I enjoyed it, man. The episode was fun, but it was also a lot of tension in this episode. A lot of gore. I was worried about these characters, and ultimately, we also got a fantastic cameo, I would say, and a in a way a debut for a character that we haven't seen live action yet, being Blade. But and here he's also mixed with Moon Knight, giving us Blade Knight, an awesome take on that character, and he was so much fun to see. First episode grabbed me, man, because at the same time, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe in this. Even if you are a grade A level Avenger, you're gonna get got. And couple of our people died in this, man, and it was sad to see, but it was also good to see such a spotlight given to Kamala Khan, because we've really grown to love her ever since her show with Miss Marvel, and it's just been great to see her grow. But I love this episode, man. Great start. What you think?
I really liked the start of this episode. It set the tone, right? We're in a universe where it comes off of What If, but we're in a universe where the zombie apocalypse has broke out. At this point, only on Earth, as far as we know, and we pick up with Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan and Riri, who see a downed ship that is Shield and see a transmitter, and they're trying to figure out if they can get some information to possibly the Nova Corps so that they can figure out how to get a cure for this. As you mentioned, it's one hell of an episode. It is emotional. It's not just straightforward. There is some emotional beats. There is some fun and some laughing. The one thing that you had mentioned is nobody is safe in this episode, and at least 2 or 3 of our heroes fell. So it was a fun start, and it's a fun place to get us going with some of the world building that they're going to give us. What was your favorite moment in that episode?
I would say my favorite moment from the first episode would have to be uh, the shot where Kate Bishop wants to use her trick arrow on one of the zombies, Captain Marvel, I believe, who is a zombie in this show, and kicking Icarus's ass the whole way through. It was cool. It was funny to see her try to use that trick arrow, and it just turned out to be just that, a trick arrow, nothing special about it. And then our girl ends up getting vaporized by Captain Marvel. Very funny scene. What about you?
My favorite is unfortunately after Kate and Riri are gone, Kamala Khan wakes up and talks to Blade Knight, and he kind of talks about how Icarus and Captain Marvel are zombies and they're locked in this eternal battle that neither of them can win. They're pretty much matched at their powers and at their limits. So it was kind of he kind of waxed poetically about it, about these two people being interconnected and locked forever in this eternal battle. So I thought it was just a nice kind of moment to give us I don't know, just a nice moment of him describing this romanticized, humongous fight that's happening above you. What was one of your favorite characters or cameos that we saw in this episode? Since we got a couple.
Well, we mentioned Blade Knight. That was definitely a highlight of this episode for me. If I had any other favorite cameo from this episode, I would honestly probably say Zombie Captain Marvel. I didn't really see that coming. I did enjoy the fight that her and Icarus were having, and obviously, I was rooting for Zombie Captain Marvel the whole time. But yeah, I would say that was my favorite. What about you?
My favorite was Blade Knight. I'm a huge Blade fan, of course, being a kid of the early 90s. That's our first Marvel character. It was good to see Mahershala Ali get a chance to actually act out this character, even though it's not in live action yet. He really brings some weight to the character. So that was my favorite part.
Yeah, real quick, I would say, unfortunately, our boy Mahershala Ali, he didn't voice this time around.
Moving on to the next episode. Episode number 2 starts off. We're in San Francisco with Shang-Chi and Katie as the zombie apocalypse seems to erupt. Tell me, what was your first thoughts on that adventure? This is a little bit of a longer episode and some things kind of happen. What were your first thoughts?
First thoughts for me, I think that this was probably the best opening that we got from the Marvel Zombies episodes, just because you're seeing like the outbreak from 5 years later. You're seeing Shang-Chi and Katie deal in this massive outbreak. You're seeing people who are turning into zombies grow gigantic and nobody knows what to do about it, just massive chaos everywhere. We also have Shang-Chi's father, the Mandarin, coming in for the save, and our boy Shang-Chi gets bit, but he doesn't turn because his daddy saves him with the 10 rings. I thought that was a perfect use for that. And unfortunately, we also see the Mandarin meet his end due to that, but he saved his son, so it works out. I really enjoyed this episode for that. Also, the Mad Max feeling that I got from the episode, just because of where we end up with these characters 5 years later. And not only that, but we also see more characters in this episode. We get Yelena, we get Red Guardian, we get Melina. Again, seeing characters that have been built up ever since Phase 4 finally interacting with each other. It was very nice to see. Also cool that they're making their journey over to Atlantis, and we get our very first like appearance of a zombie Namor, which this guy is tearing through everybody. Again, nobody is safe in the show, and that's what I absolutely love about it. But again, opening of this episode was great to me, and the episode was great as a whole. What did you think?
It's probably one of my favorite episodes, I'd say, from this. I love Shang-Chi. I'm a huge fan of the actor who plays it, Simu Lee. I love, I forgot what's his name that plays the FBI character. I really love him too. And they're back and forth with Death Dealer, who doesn't talk at all, and but is a badass. Loved seeing everything. We've got a lot of cameos in this episode. So I'm really excited to know what was your favorite cameo out of this episode.
Favorite cameo out of this episode? Well, I'll give you two. One, Shang-Chi, once again, just because we haven't seen our boy ever since 2021, and we're still waiting on his second film, but it was great to see him here. And also, I say one of my favorite characters was the zombie Namor. Again, ripping through everybody. It just completely totally brutal. I love that character from the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie, and it was good to see him back here, but in a much more brutal and deathly fashion. Very entertaining for me. What about you?
I would go with Namor as well. Everyone who kind of knows me personally knows Namor is one of my favorite characters. So I was excited to really see him and see what he does. Of course, like you had mentioned, he's a destroyer. There was pretty much no chance for most of the people to do anything. He was ripping through the submarine like nobody's business. And my second favorite cameo was the person who set all this up, and that was Baron Zemo. And of course, they're taking this ride through the ocean in Baron Zemo's ship, and he thought nothing of it. He thought that the zombies were just going to knock on the outside of the ship; they can never get in the ship. But that's up until the point that you wake up Namor. And once you've done that, you're really in for it, and that showed 100%. What was one of your favorite moments in this episode? It had some really big moments.
Oh man, I would have to say my favorite moment, well, fortunately for me, unfortunately for the character, is another death. When our boy Death Dealer saves, I believe his name is Jimmy Woo,
There you
the
go.
FBI agent. Yeah, yeah, there you go. When he saves him from the zombie horde, only for Death Dealer to get tuned up himself. I think his arm got broken. I think a leg got broken too, and then he just got completely just smashed onto the ground, just face completely messed up, and that mask was done. That mask that he wears in pieces. Again, nobody's safe. Absolutely loved it. What did you think?
My favorite moment actually was when the two groups met each other. Probably about 15 minutes into the episode, after we get past the flashback, we're all everyone each team is moving over to Baron Zemo's ship to try to travel on. Everyone's kind of trying to get to New Asgard at this point because that is a safety refuge, and we get to see Blade Knight and Kamala Khan meet up with Katie and Shang-Chi and all the rest of the gang. And it's kind of played for laughs where they have that setup where they're about to fight each other. And Baron Zemo comes in and he's like, look at good guys trying to do good things. And it was a really funny moment. So that was probably my favorite.
I probably got one more for you. A moment that hit me, I'll say, when our girl Yelena had to when she checked out. Just the story that developed between her and Red Guardian, and just to see Red Guardian's reaction when he loses his only daughter. I think that's the great. I think that's the best character like depth that we've gotten from Red Guardian this whole time. But just the way that she went out with a drink in her hand for her and one for her friends. Yelena went out good.
Well, let's take it to the next episode, episode number 3, where all the survivors, like I had mentioned, are heading to New Asgard. Well, Valkyrie is basically hiding what people she can. But there is a very big secret that's happening as everyone arrives. And tell us what you thought and your first thoughts of that episode, and maybe you can shed some light on what happens.
I was very impressed with this third episode. It picks up pretty much right where the episode of Marvel Zombies for What If from season one, where that left off with Spider-Man, Black Panther, and also Ant-Man's head in a jar with Doctor Strange's cape. Very classic. Loved how it picked up from there and seeing zombie Thanos and him slowly learning how to use the Infinity Stones. There was a lot of tension there, and that was very terrifying. But I also love the episode because it gave our boy T'Challa, Black Panther, another emotional send off in a way, because it's because of him that Wakanda was saved. And then we find out that all the energy from the Infinity Stones ends up getting dispersed after Black Panther sacrifices himself and essentially kills Thanos by taking him down into I think they're the Wakanda's world engine, something like that. From there, we catch back up with our characters, and like you said, they're in New Asgard with Valkyrie, who's trying to keep everybody safe. But the problem is some of these people in New Asgard can be naive, so much so to eat anything that's put in front of them. Because we get introduced to Wanda Maximoff in this episode, and at first she comes off like she's okay, like she's human, like she's normal. But in actuality, she's really not. She's actually the queen of the dead. And what she's done here is trick all the people in Asgard to eating food that I'll say is not edible and that you shouldn't eat. Otherwise, you might catch something. This episode had a lot of tension, a lot of buildup, and for me, it just further solidified how terrifying the Scarlet Witch can be. Me personally, I think that this is like the most terrifying that she's ever been. You know, even looking back to Multiverse of Madness, like I think this is the scariest version of the Scarlet Witch that we've gotten. But I was hooked from this episode from beginning to end, all the way until we find out what's going on with the Nova Corps and why they haven't really helped us this whole time. But pleasantly surprised by this episode, and I enjoyed it. What you think?
I think this episode has it plays like a dichotomy, right? You have two stories going on that are kind of simultaneously happening. Like you had mentioned, we have Peter Parker and Ant Man and their story, and of course Black Panther, of their story kind of finishing it out in the battle in Wakanda, and of course zombie Thanos with that damn Infinity Gauntlet. This is the point in the story where things are starting to kind of hit their apex. We're starting to kind of see what the machinations of the characters are, and everybody really wants to get to that gauntlet because even though it's zombies, it still has the same power. And like you mentioned, T'Challa sacrificed himself to save the world, and it was incredible. It was incredible. What was one of your favorite parts of that episode?
Uh, I would say my favorite part from this third episode when we saw Black Panther, Spider Man, Ant Man going up against Thanos. Great fight sequence. I love the standoff between T'Challa and Thanos, just because while Black Panther's trying to fight him, you hear that Wakanda music in the background, like the toot, 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 toot. Love that, man. Like I love that Marvel added that in, and again, it's another great send off for a very important character in the MCU. What about you?
Amen. Amen. I my favorite part in this, or my favorite scene, probably was when they all showed up at New Asgard, and you see Wanda there. Everyone's caught off guard, except for like Kamala Khan, and people who have seen her know that she's the zombie queen, but everyone in Asgard has no idea. It kind of reminds us as a viewer that Wanda has the ability to warp reality. These people don't know what they're seeing. And like you had mentioned, they were eating unalived stuff, which was inherently turning them into the zombies in which they were hiding from. They didn't know that the call was coming from inside the house. And I thought that was a cool scene because it reminds us that, like, yo, Wanda is OP and she can manipulate things that you would find normal and didn't see. So I love that part. Give me your favorite cameo.
My favorite cameo from this episode, I would probably have to say, would be King Thor. Even though majority of this episode, he was, just not doing anything, just sitting down, depressed, done with the world. We've seen this version of Thor before, except this time he's not fat. But seeing just seeing like that character and what ended up happening with him, how he ends up trying to help that group get out of New Asgard by that time, trying to fight Wanda Maximoff off and give them as much time as they can to get out. Also, I'll say one more favorite moment of mine is when Thor officially gives Kamala the Avengers title, says, "You're an Avenger, child." Kind of gave me flashbacks to Infinity War when Iron Man gave the Avengers the Avengers name to Spider Man. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see.
I don't know really what my favorite cameo is other than Thor. We got a few people in this episode, but for me, it reminds me of the Unworthy Thor run, and how he just was Thor Odin's son in name. He wasn't doing anything. He had collected dust. He wasn't moving. They were having parties around him. And then when things got to a fever pitch, he jumps in and he takes care of business. And of course, we are reminded in that moment, this is Thor, and he's extremely powerful. And it was a
Yeah.
really cool moment. Really cool moment. So let's move on to the final episode. Everybody finally gets together. They get in the ship and they want to go up to see if they can send a signal to the Nova Corps. And that signal comes back really quickly, because the Nova Corps is there. and the Nova Corps is quarantining the planet and has been locking everyone in and sends them right back to where all the hell is happening. Jay, kick us off. What do you think of that episode?
Well, the fourth episode, the series finale of this show, I thought was amazing. For the first three episodes, we kind of followed like a basic formula. You know, our heroes trying to get to one spot, and then they get to that spot, and it's overrun by zombies. They got to get out, and then we got to go to the next spot. The last episode of this changes that formula in a very different way because instead of that, we just end up having an all-out battle, bruh. And when I tell you that this battle is Avengers Endgame level, that to me is insane to say that we got this from an animated Marvel show. The whole battle sequence was absolutely amazing. I can count on more than one hand the amount of action that we saw, the moments that we had. So much death, so much gore. We end up getting the most OP Hulk that I've ever seen in my life. We find out that he's actually harboring all the energy of those Infinity Stones inside of him, and just not doing anything. And he is the main hub for all these zombies and humans to go to try to just have this one final battle. And it was absolutely amazing. So many cameos, so many moments that we'll get to in a second. But I absolutely love this episode. I love the action in it, and I absolutely love the ending that we got as well. Might be a bit controversial for some, just because of a character that we were pretty sure died a while ago, comes back, but overall the ending shocked me. It hooked me, and it had me thinking afterwards. And it's the perfect ending I feel for a show like this. What about you?
I loved it. It was a great conclusion to this show, even though it kind of left some things open ended. I've got to say, as one of the viewers out there, I have no idea what the end means. I have no idea where this is going. It seems to be some kind of made up world that Wanda built, but I have no idea what is happening at the end of this episode. Just to keep it 100. I love the action. They made it. They did a good job of making you think that the heroes were gonna win. You thought the heroes were gonna win. You know it's Hulk. You know if anybody could hold back the Infinity Stone and that amount of power, it'd be the Hulk. He's not worried about Wanda, and with that amount of power, he should have been able to do something about it. However, caught off guard, not paying attention, things happen, and the bad guy wins. So I love this episode. But one thing that, like you said in the beginning, I'll tell the audience if you just happen to be watching this and you haven't watched it, don't get comfortable with too many characters. A lot of them won't make it out of it. A lot of the ones that we have mentioned so far as our favorites did not make it out of it. It was a really good episode. If there was one cameo in there, and I'll say outside of the Hulk, because we both know we're both going to say the Hulk. Was there anybody else in there that popped up that made you think twice, or you were happy to see?
Honestly, man, I'd have to say my favorite cameo, if we're not talking about the Hulk, I'd have to say Spider-Man. I loved just seeing Spider-Man in a TV MA Marvel property, because the likelihood of us getting a rated R Spider-Man movie is way out there. It's very small. So seeing him in this and seeing him use his powers to rip off zombie heads with his webs, grade A Spider-Man, grade A. What about you?
You took mine. It was Spider-Man. My my other option was Ant-Man, just because I love him flying around with Doctor Strange cape, and in that, Futurama jar head situation that he has going on. I love it. And those two are kind of the most like quippiest people in the way that
Yeah.
they talk. So it's fun to watch them work. It's just fun to watch them work. I was really sad, however, just quick addition. I was really sad that Kamala had to acquiesce and help out Wanda, even though she didn't want to. It was a really heartfelt, sad moment. And I'm going to say that that was probably my favorite moment. And then what was yours?
You might have took mine too, but I think if I were to think about it, my favorite moment aside from Kamala giving in to the Scarlet Witch, I would have to say was the battle between our Infinity Hulk and Zombie Thor. That just gave us a callback to Thor Ragnarok, except this battle I felt was even better than that because you have an OP Hulk who has infinity energy, and you have a zombie Thor who's mindless and powerful at the same time. So that whole battle was awesome. I even loved when, well, it was kind of bittersweet when it happened, but when our boy Blade Knight tried to stop Thor at first, and then Thor just called the thunder down on him, boy, he vaporized our guy. He vaporized him so bad that when he turned into a skull, you saw his vampire teeth. It was wild. And then the ending with the Hulk just beating Thor's head in until he was no more. We need this live action. It was awesome. It was great. I loved it. How about you?
Well, it really was. It was great. It was a fun ride. I had a good time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some of these. I'm going to add in my last thoughts here, and then I'm going to let you do your last thoughts, and we're going to take it on home because we're reaching the 30-minute mark today, y'all. Well, my thoughts are I love this show. I love a good zombie show. My only complaint to Marvel is that I don't like that they drop everything at once. It's just a lot. These shows and these episodes had a lot of stuff going on and a lot of Easter eggs, and it's really fun. It's just hard for us as creators trying to break it down. Come on, Marvel, give us a little space, man. Give us a little space. But it was great. I can't wait to see what they do next. And the question that pops in my mind will what kind of part will this play in the next season of What if we get What If before we get the next season of Marvel Zombies? Will they mention it? Will they not? It was a great run, and I'm happy we got that. And it's a great episode for tomorrow's spooky night. So take us on out. What's your final thoughts for the whole season? And take us on out, Jay.
Final thoughts for Marvel Zombies. This show was not on my radar as something that I thought was going to be something that was pretty great. But one way for me is that like one way to go from good to great to me is if you subvert my expectations, and that's exactly what this show did. Uh, I think it did a great job of the stat like just letting us live in this world with these characters, letting them intermingle, seeing the dynamic between all the characters that we've been building up on since phase 4 and phase 5. And another great thing about this show is the fact, again, like we've said many times, nobody was safe. Everybody was on the table to get done up, get eaten, get unalived, whatever you want to say. Again, nobody is safe in this show, and I absolutely loved it. This was a very big success, a good successful show for Marvel. I think Marvel Animation's been doing great so far, and I can't wait to see what other projects that they have coming up next. I think we got a Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2 coming. Uh, I was really impressed with this show. It's subverted my expectations. I'd say my only really complaints with it are just again just the basic formula that we had for the first 3 episodes, but that's a minor nitpick. And you could say that the ending might, make a couple people question things, but overall, again, I think it's the ending that was needed for a show like this. So absolutely impressed with it. Can't wait to see what Marvel does next. Thank you all for watching this far, and again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Please have a very happy but safe Halloween. And as always, stay nerdy, my friends.